Skinner on Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
Hello and welcome to Not the Weekend podcast. I'm Frank Skinner. This is all to do with Absolute Radio. Emily's here.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Likewise, Gareth.
Oh, yeah. I'm Not the Weekend Gareth.
So the crowd's all assembled.
Wednesday morning.
Oh, sounded slightly limp this week, I thought.
Yeah.
How can it sound different when it's
Don't
recorded?
know.
Never mind. So, Gareth, you was something you were going to tell us. You've been holding back.
Yeah. So
I'd rather find out things on air, wouldn't you?
Yes.
I don't really want any conversations off
no.
air anymore.
I don't want to have a relationship with you off air.
No.
It's a waste.
Yeah.
It's a waste. We should have. I tape all my conversations.
Oh, are you Sarah Ferguson? Okay, so let's imagine that I'm the fake
So let's
shake.
play. You want to play? We'll play.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm the. Is that what she says?
She said it in, and she obviously assumed because Mazzy and Mahmood, she obviously thought, oh, he's foreign, so I'll speak very slowly. Never mind the fact that he spoke better English than her. So she went, you give me the money, wire transfer, you say we play, he play. Okay?
Is that what she? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh, I've heard it so many times.
So he's not. He's the fake shake, but he wasn't in costume.
He doesn't always dress up as the fake Sheikh. That's one of his many characters. He's a man of 1,000 faces.
So he.
Wow.
Well, I thought he was. I mean, I thought the fake shake that
Had
was
to be
him.
a shake.
Yeah. I mean, you can't be the fake shake and not be a shake. He was so fake, he wasn't even a shake. That's what the headline should have been. Well, they could have called the story of the two of them together "Shake and Vacuous."
Oh, that would have been
I mean, that just came to me in a
good.
blinding. I'm actually pro. Oh, sorry, we'll come to your moment in a
that's
minute.
fine.
Yeah.
I'm actually pro Sarah Ferguson.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you're a professional Sarah Ferguson.
Yes, it was me. I set the whole. Me and the fake shake did. We don't need her for this. I'll play the part of Sarah. For this video, Frank Skinner will be playing the part of Sarah Ferguson. No, I sort of like her. I think she. If she'd have died in a car crash, she'd be the popular one that people really liked. But she's lived, and in order to continue, she's had to make money, and that people can't forgive her for that.
She's like the Paul McCartney of the Royals.
No, that's not just. I won't have that
that
said.
not okay?
No. But
She didn't get a good enough divorce settlement. That was her problem. It so often
15
is.
grand a year is what she got.
Oh, dear.
15 grand a year. No wonder she's having to sell whatever Prince Andrew does. I mean, it's not a proper job that he does, is he?
Well,
Goes
is he
around
a trade
talking about
ambassador?
business, trade ambassador. They've said, Andrew, you've got a fat head. We don't have a military cap that'll fit you anymore, so you've got to leave the Navy. Go and talk to some people abroad about sort of fact stuff, and we'll say you're an ambassador of business. He does nothing.
He's an envoy. Trade envoy.
According to Sarah
envoy.
Ferguson, he is the Prince of England.
Well, he is the Prince of England, but he's the kind of prince that nobody is quite, whether he's Edward or not.
No.
He's that. They're interchangeable.
Exactly. I mean, it all made sense to me. If it costs 500 grand to see him, I wondered that's why we haven't seen him for the last 10 years.
Yes, he's a sort of undercover prince.
Yeah.
If anyone wasted the opportunity that's thrown up by being a prince, it's
It's him.
He could have, though he did go out with Stark.
Oh, yeah.
It's because younger models keep coming out. Can't compete with the Harrys and the Williams.
And the
No,
Williams.
that's right. He's been left by the way. Anyway,
So I was at Peckham Rye Station.
oh, we've moved on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Is there more?
No.
I was getting a lift with a very nice comedian called Mike Belgrave, who's a lovely man, but he left me a very strange voicemail message saying, "Got to meet me at Peckham Rye Station." Right, and in the ticket office, I can't say this enough. Sorry, I don't mean to get a bit angry on the phone, but I've just had it so much with comedians. People wander off, and if you're going to be late, can you please tell me you're going to be late? You know, I don't mind you being late, but can you please just tell me you're being late? And
He sounds an awful friend.
I'm loving this performance. I mean, I feel like I'm there on the phone. I mean, this is not an anecdote. This is a play.
This is not
It's
just
a
anecdote.
one-man
This is
play.
an M&S anecdote.
This is and I've met him before. I know he's a lovely man, so it was.
I'll put that in in case he's listening.
No, but
He sounds quite
otherwise
highly
I would
strong,
have been,
if you ask
I would
me.
have been terrified. But no, he was lovely, and he gave me a lift all the way to Norwich. But while I was waiting for him at Peckham Rye Station, I had a very scary moment where 3 youths came in.
Hooded?
No, they weren't wearing hoods.
Okay.
One of them was sort of wearing a uniform of some sort under.
That was a
tracksuit
policeman,
top.
Gareth.
No, he was.
Wearing a uniform
They
under
seem
his
so
clothes.
young nowadays. Sort of like he works in a shop or something, because he had a name badge and sort of a nondescript check shirt,
That'd
but
be
under a
Curry's.
tracksuit top. So like he works at Curry's,
Yeah.
but he's off duty. And I was just standing in the middle of the ticket office, like I've been told.
Yeah.
And sort of there's 3 of them, and they sort of clock me and sort of were aware. You know when you're aware.
What do you mean they clocked you? What, they were going to ask you out?
No, I don't know what it was.
Well, then, did they recognise you?
No, no.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I thought I'll
Yeah.
pretend that could be possible. Look at his little face lit up there.
Oh, it was like Fergie with the
So they were
money.
staring
They
at you.
recognised the silence.
Were
I
you-
thought, I
were you,
recognised that silence.
Were you edgy?
I wasn't. I don't think I was there. I got edgier because what happened is they were there and they sort of we were all kind of shared a look, so we knew each other were there. And then one of them came over and sort of stood behind me. So they sort of had me surrounded.
Was this the one with the name
It was
badge?
the one with the name badge.
Who was he?
I don't know. Who
You
he
didn't read
was.
his name badge?
No, I didn't.
See,
read
I'd
his
have thought I'm at least going to get his name. That might come in handy.
Did it say happy to help on the
name.
name
No, it
badge?
didn't. I don't think so.
He didn't do that thing when he knelt down behind you and another one come over and push you over.
Well, that's a bit what I was worried about.
Yeah.
And they were kind of all aware
That
I
would have
was.
been hard. Oh, your head is in the concrete at Peckham Rye Station. That man arriving and saying, "Oh, comedians, I knew this would happen. They're always in a pool of blood when I get here." So tell us what happened. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
so
near
it was
the
just
edge.
weird where they seemed to have me, and they were all kind of.
I'm not central on my seat anyway. Let's
No.
just say that. I don't want to exaggerate.
Because if you can tell if people are sort of aware of your presence. They were very
I
aware
certainly
I was
can.
there for some reason.
I mean, they were very aware you were there.
Well, they were all kind of like looking at me, but not talking to
Would
me.
you
but
expect
then,
them to look through you?
or looking? No, but you know when someone for some reason is aware you're there. Anyway, so what happened is this man had come and stood behind me, and I realised he thought I was in a queue for a ticket machine. But I was just standing in the middle of the ticket office, and he had joined the queue. I was just standing there.
You thought there was some incident.
Now, I know Raymond Blanc wasn't involved in this. I'm starting to think that this tune can fit any Gareth note.
Peckham Rye you're playing it for.
Any meandering tale that leaves... Because I don't have Road to Nowhere at my fingertips by Talking
Not
Heads.
feel satisfied by that.
Well, I'm glad you weren't threatened in
Yeah,
any
no,
way.
it was fine,
Right.
and then it was.
Yeah,
There's
but, you know,
nothing wrong with an anecdote. The punchline is, and I was in the queue for the ticket office.
I'm happy with that. Peckham Rye Gazette, man involved in queue.
Man queues, that is a headline down those parts.
No, sorry, I'm not queuing. Oh, right, yeah, cool. Sorry. Yeah,
So
that's
they
what
went.
happened.
But
So
I like.
that's why they're all looking at me.
I like.
No, I
a
thought they
nice-
were going to stab me, but they didn't.
Yeah. Well, I like a nice youth story, and I'm glad there was no stabbing involved.
So do I.
Yeah, that'll be that. They're not my favourite anecdotes.
Although it would have provided some catharsis at least.
Well, I did once get stabbed in Sheffield, and I thought this hurts, but at least I'm helping local industry. So you know, there's a. I like to look at the bright side in things. I must say. Now, I'll tell you what I thought was very interesting. I'll be honest with you. I read the Daily Mail this week. I'm not proud of that, but there was a thing about Yvonne Keating, Ronan Keating's
yes.
wife, and it was talking about what she's been wearing since she's been
Wrong.
wronged. Called it wrong. In fact, they called it WWA Wronged Woman Apparel.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah,
That's one for me.
And they talked about, I've written this down, heartbreak chic.
Yes.
That's what she went for. She went for understated classics, clean neutrals, and traditional lines.
She did.
And it says a lot of women, when they get wronged publicly, they do the look what he's missing
Yeah.
thing when they wear...
I call that, that's a kind of defiant chic. That's,
Yeah.
look what you could have won, elegance.
Yeah, but... See, I don't buy the look what he's missing, because I think if a
No.
bloke's been with a woman as long as he's been with his wife, that's not what he'd be missing about her. Do you know what I
Exactly.
mean? He'd be missing her inner beauty, not
But
her
hers is more a
flat
public
stomach.
display for others, isn't it?
Is that what it is? Like
Yes.
some sort of paycock?
Yes.
Like a paycock? Is that
Well,
what
that's
it's
the
saying?
trouble, is that when you've, in a situation like Yvonne, what you really want to do is spend 3 days in your tracksuit bottoms and your fall T-shirt. But you can't really do that when you're going to be photographed every day.
Showing you're not wearing falling apart clothes.
Yeah.
Well, I liked what Jerry Halliwell did when she got dumped by Chris Evans. She lay in bed all day crying, and then when it got dark, she went to the 24-hour garage and bought about £40 worth of sweets. Then she ate them for 24 hours, then went back to the all-night garage and did that for about 4 days. I think if you're going to get dumped, go for it. You know? Yeah, and
Wallow in it.
Don't wear traditional lines, and I mean, just absolutely. I wallow in it. On the occasions I've been dumped, I can't. What I hate most of all, I will not be dumped in the summer.
No. Oh, that's terrible, Frank.
Because you can't look like a lonely, desolate figure in a flip-flop. Do you know what I mean? I need an upturned collar on my overcoat. I need to be walking against the wind, feeling like a deserted, lonely character.
Yeah.
And you can't go out in shorts when you're heartbroken. It's not possible. So
I hate it when you're dumped and when the sympathy goes, because you have about 2 weeks, I think, during which everyone's really nice to you. You can talk about it till the cows come home.
Well, it's a great story, a being dumped story.
Yeah.
I mean, I love listening to a friend's broken-hearted being dumped stories. They've got anguish. People, I'm in love and everything's going great. It's the dullest story you could ever listen to. But I've been mistreated. He was with my sister in my own house. I mean, I pull up a comfortable
I told
chair.
you not to mention that on the radio,
sorry.
Frank.
I want popcorn when my friends are telling me those stories.
Actually, Frank, you're very good. You've given me very good advice in the past. Frank said 2 good things to me, which all stuck in my mind. Once you said to me, I was talking and talking and talking, as you do, and you said, yeah, you'll feel a bit like the ancient mariner with the need to tell your tale constantly.
Yes.
Which I loved.
Well, I think you have to keep telling your tale until you're bored with it, and then you know you're getting over it. That's my theory.
And then you said something else which I really liked, which is I was in, my girlfriends and I call it the incident room, which is you go to the incident room, and when you're in there, you don't judge, all you do is analyse. So, again, you're allowed to be in there for about 2 weeks until everyone starts getting bored. And I was still in the incident room on one occasion, and I was over-analysing, and then I started saying, but then I think I know what happened. I think this happened, and I think that happened, and there must have been a phone call. And you went, OK, you've moved on to the forensic stage. That's progress.
Well, that's when people saying, oh, so when he said that, he probably meant, of course, he'd probably seen her that day. And that coat that he said belonged to his mother, then you're Colombo. Then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
Well, that's good. You should set up an incident room for those situations. So you have a whiteboard and you have all pictures and you can make lists of all...
Have you ever been dumped, Gareth?
Only when I was very young.
How
at
old?
School.
No, I don't mean in a waste bin by your parents. I mean,
a handbag.
I'm talking romantically now.
Yeah, no, I was dumped by Beth and Jacket when I was about 11.
Beth and Jacket?
Yeah.
What sort of a person is
Beth
she?
Jacket from Leicester.
Hold on, was she actually a Jackie?
she was a potato.
That's what I'm worried about. I can imagine you dating a Jackie in your teenage years. I would not find that unbelievable.
She used to say, you're having me on. No, and I was very affected by it, and I'd seen
How
in
old were
films. You know how people drink a lot in films.
How old were you?
How old were you at the time?
I reckon I must have been. I went up to sort of year 9, so that's about 13. So I must have been about 11.
I'm sorry, that doesn't count.
10 and
No, I think you can have your heart broken at 11.
You know how people
Yeah.
drink a lot in films?
Yeah.
Well, not just in films, Frank, but that's another story.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I used to drink.
Well,
a lot.
hold on, but I don't think you can. No, not. I'll take that. But I don't think you can have your heart broken at 11. I think
No.
one's heart at 11 is a bit like the bones of a child. They've got that robberiness about them, so they don't go easy.
No, I wouldn't say she broke my heart. I was just going through the motions. I was trying to, you try and act like you think you're supposed to act. So what I did is I went to the school canteen and I lined up a big tray of cups of orange juice, and I drank my way through all of them.
You're joking.
Why did you do that?
Sat at the school dining table, saying, "I love that girl."
Oh, hunched
Down
over the
another-
table like a drunk
Yeah.
in a bottle. Did you really do that?
Lined up a big load
That's fabulous. I think you can combat heartbreat with vitamin C.
I
You've
was
probably
buzzing
seen
by
JR
then.
doing it with whiskey or something on Dallas. You thought that's what
Yeah,
you did?
no, that's exactly what I did.
That's I listen to Roy Orbison tracks whenever I've been dumped. You know,
Yeah.
Only the Lonely and all that.
Aw.
I think you've got to make the most of it. I really try and make myself cry.
You've got to have a good wallow, and then you feel better the other side.
Yeah, well, you just don't want to miss your moment.
No, but that's what I was saying. I hate it when people start tiring of you. So they'll give you about 2 to 3 weeks where it's all about you and you can be a complete egomaniac, and I love that phase. And then that moment when you realise they're tiring and they go, the friends who used to say, "Oh, I know," start going, "Yeah, anyway, I must have seen that film."
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, I hate that.
No, you have to. Yeah, it's important to get out early.
Always leave them wanting more, I say, Frank.
Yeah, totally.
But I think it's ridiculous, this thing of because this lady, what's her name? Sharon? Is it Sharon Keating?
Yvonne.
Sorry, I
Yvonne.
don't understand your Esperanto.
Yvonne Keating. yeah. She's they're reading her clothes and she's not making any statements, so they're trying to read what she's thinking by. It's like how they used to read the entrails in Roman times, trying to discern what's happening from random events, and it doesn't mean anything.
She knows what she's doing when she walks out
You
of that
reckon?
house.
No.
Yeah.
I think they should actually read entrails. I think they should cut them open a pigeon and say, "This is what Yvonne Keating's thinking."
Okay.
The liver being there means she's
Remember, you heard
being
it here
defiant.
first. I mean, just bear in mind, I was in Birdland just, last week. You could be a bit more sensitive. Speaking of my week off, I told you what I never told you. Me and my girlfriend we went for a run. Yes.
Oh, that's quite romantic.
Well, kind of, but we got into a field and we got over this fence and I saw these cows there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought, well, cows are docile animals. As I got nearer, I was looking for odders. There were
As
no.
you so often are.
Yeah.
There weren't any others.
There were no others. Yeah.
It's just alone.
Yeah, and I realised I was in a field with bulls.
Oh.
They were. I said to Kat, "Don't worry, they're bullocks," which is young bulls. I have no idea if that's the term for young bulls at all, but I'm just trying to calm them down. Because I said, don't show them any fear.
Yeah.
So I just ran sort of straight at them, and they weren't moving at all. And I started running in a very sort of emphasised way. I started lifting my knees and really pumping my elbows, running like somebody from a strange cartoon, and I thought they'll be alarmed. They still hadn't moved. Gareth was saying, "I'm genuinely frightened now. I mean, like, I'm really properly frightened. They're not going to move. Well, I think we'll get killed." So I could hear all that. And for some reason, I started singing the George Formby song, Grandad's Flannelette Nightshirt. So I ran at them
Well,
going...
you'd lost your mind at this point.
Yeah,
clearly.
no, I thought you've got to look so you don't care. So I ran at these balls going, "Now in our family we've got an heirloom. They handed it to me a year ago." And at the very last second, I was running straight at this bull. I could feel its hot nostril breath on my forearms.
Oh, I hate that.
And at the last minute, it did indeed run away.
Did it?
I've said indeed now, which is what people always say on terrible interviews on
Frank,
telly.
it went off.
You know,
It worked.
on telly when they say to someone, "So you've built this this Noah's Ark out of matches," and they say, the bloke always says, "I have indeed." I hate it when they do that.
And it's always to people like Peter Purvis they say it to.
Yeah, but don't ever say indeed. I'm against it. I heard that Noddy Alder advert on Absolute Radio when he says "my dulcet tones," and I think if I hear anyone say dulcet tones, I think they should be put down by injection. And I love Noddy Alder.
They should be destroyed at birth along with Mick Hucknall.
You should. So,
We've got.
I thought about punching one in the nose. You know, that's what you're supposed to do with sharks.
I'm so glad you didn't do
I
that.
thought if it doesn't move, I'm going to give it a real right. I'd worked out the punch. I thought like an uppercut, right on the end of the nose, and then see how it goes.
Have you ever met anyone who's actually punched a shark on the nose, though? I'm sure it doesn't work.
A mate of mine was a gas fitter in the West Midlands, and he was at this house with this young apprentice he was about 16, and this very large Alsatian came into the room. They didn't know it was in the house, and there was no one else in the house except then the woman had gone out, and the dog stood next to them and started going and doing that thing when they turn their mouth up and showing their
I
teeth.
hate that, the teeth.
So they were both terrified, and the apprentice in particular, and the apprentice said, I'm gonna hit him across the nose with the hammer."
Oh, my God.
My mate said to him, "You better make it a good one." He said, "I'm telling you better kill him, because if you just give him a nasty rap, he'll rip you to pieces." Happily, the woman came home in time. But, worth knowing if you approach. Another odd thing happened. I went into a small church
Oh, yeah.
in a village called Hampnet.
Oh, what
And
a great name. I like it.
Yeah, and I like nipping into churches when I'm out in the countryside. But I tell you what, I've discovered about myself. When I'm in there and it's empty, so you can really wander around and explore, I always go into the pulpit.
Oh, do you?
And I feel so at home in the pulpit. I look out at where the congregation would be, and I think, now, it might just be because I'm used to being, like, on stage.
I think it's the performer in you, maybe.
But maybe I was born to be a preacher of some description.
Well,
What do you say
we've
to
got
that?
someone in the organisation who has connections in that area. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Have you ever preached, Gareth?
Yeah.
You've been up there
I've
in the
done
pulpit.
preaching, yeah.
What did you preach?
A number of things. I used to be president of the Royal Holloway CU, the Christian Union at Royal Holloway. I was the president at
What,
my
the women's
university.
prison? what you noticed? You were clean shaven in those days. Well, so you've preached a lot, and
yeah.
can you see the appeal?
Yeah, no, I mean it's basically the same thing as doing stand up. It's very, very similar.
Is it?
Yeah, you'd be a great preacher.
I'm thinking I might. Could you just turn up one week and do an open spot? I'll just do 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the thing, is that it's not really a meritocracy. That's the lovely thing about stand-up, is that you can go and have a go, and if you make people laugh, they let you do it. Whereas it's a bit more hierarchical, the church.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
let
A lot of
anyone have a
hierarchy.
try.
I couldn't turn up at a Catholic church and say, "Don't mind if I did the sermon this week, Father."
Yeah.
No.
There's less.
Can you do a
there's
type
There's
5?
less leeway to get it wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
preaching.
I'm doing it on the topic of Lou Reed, the life of Lou Reed. Is that all right?
Jesus.
Well, I don't know about that. No, I don't know what the congregation. Well, Mark, are you talking about Lou Reed?
Jesus, the pros and cons. No, they're not
Yes,
into that
no,
at all.
I don't think we should do that. So we had an email, didn't we?
Don't point at me.
I'm sorry.
Have we
I thought
got,
Gareth had the email.
Oh, you can't. Don't ever rely
Which-
Gareth to have an
Which
email.
one is it? Oh, yeah. Hi there, Frank, Gareth, and gorgeous Emily.
That can tighten. It can tighten.
I can't believe that Tim Vine failed to mention one of the best moments of TV gold when
I
he
should
was.
say Tim Vine was on the show a couple of
Yes,
weeks
he
ago.
was.
Yeah.
He was talking about his appearance on Celebrity Mastermind last week. Guess he must have got sidetracked with all the Elvis stuff. Ian Lavender was a fellow contestant, as was Rick Wakeman. Rick Wakeman.
And you were president of the Christian Union and something of a great preacher in your day.
I never said I was a great preacher.
Oh, did you not say that?
No.
Sorry.
When
But
Mr.
Then again, you didn't use the word faltering. Oh, I was a faltering preacher.
Did I falter at the altar?
That's absolutely marvellous. If your name was Walter, that would have been the best joke.
When Mr. Lavender took the chair, he was asked in the time-honoured tradition, name, and at this point, Rick Wakeman bellowed from off camera, "Don't tell them, Pike!"
Very
Best
good.
Very
Clever.
good, Rick Wakeman.
If you did shout that, you actually got the quote wrong, of course. It's just "Don't tell him, Pike," isn't it?
Oh, God.
But
Wakeman.
maybe he's misquoting Rick Wakeman.
You may look good in a cape and a Casio, but you're no good at your quotes.
Well, I think
That's from
we
Leighton Brown.
Can... Okay.
That's the name of the person.
Leighton?
Leighton, isn't it?
Leighton, maybe Leighton.
Leighton.
Yes, Leighton. So, it's a funny old world.
Leighton, I don't know. Leighton.
So, we can top that, can't we?
Yeah. Oh, oh!
we
I
have
know what you're talking about.
We have a lavender anecdote,
We do.
which tops that.
Have we?
Do you not remember it?
I
Was I
sometimes
there?
wonder if you don't experience the same things as us. You're there,
Right.
but you don't experience it like we do.
You're like Casper the Friendly Ghost, but slightly less friendly.
Oh.
No, we used to go to this local cafe after the radio show, just to chew the fat.
Yeah.
This was before I was vegetarian.
And when I still ate carbs.
Yeah, and we went there one day, and a man had fallen
Yeah.
outside. There was a middle-aged man, on his hands and knees outside the cafe, which is always a shocking thing.
He sort of fell in the prayer position.
Yeah, it was sad to see, and it turned out when we got closer, it was Ian Lavender.
Yeah. And a man from the cafe went, "Oh God," and was going to help him.
Yeah, I don't think he knew who he was. 'cause
No,
he
we did,
He was
and
a
I
fan
went,
we knew immediately.
It's lavender.
Yeah, Ian Lavender. I think he looked so ill. I said, "Lavender's blue, dilly dilly, lavender's green," as he went through the spectrum of illness-related colours.
He was on the floor for quite a long time.
I know. We didn't help him at all. Did we just walk past?
No, but it was embarrassing. It was Ian Lavender. And what's awful is, you know, when his companion, I think it might be his wife, obviously said, "No one noticed, love. It's fine.
Yes.
You'll be fine." Everyone noticed, and we're still talking about it.
When I look back, though, I am angry with myself that I didn't iPhone him. Because a photo of Ian Lavender on his knees in the street is what you want, isn't it? That would look great on our website. I wondered if, you hear about these Japanese men that live in the jungle not knowing the war's over. I wondered if a German sniper woke up on a roof in Soho, recognised him from the Dad's Army thing, and tried to take him out. Is that possible?
Very possible.
I don't know, but I hope so.
In Leighton's defence, as Ian Lavender anecdotes go, I think that quite a funny bit from Celebrity Mastermind might top Ian Lavender falling over.
Well, we've all got a different sense of humour.
Oh.
Give me Lavender on his knees in the street any time.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.